Lumsden, drop for Verspeeten. He fires and scores!
CKDJ 107.9 and the CCHL this week. This is the 2025 CCHL Draft, live from the Nepean Sportsplex in Ottawa, Ontario. A special presentation of CKDJ 107.9 and the CCHL this week. Please welcome your hosts for tonight's show, Tristan Escobar, Jordan Hashi, and Casey Kenny.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the 2025 CCHL Entry Draft. We will now join the CCHL's Terry Nichols with his opening remarks.
And Debbie Rambo, Executive Director of the HEL. Over there. So just to clear up a few things, the first two selections for each team are what we call a protected selection. A protected selection, if two teams pick you in the same round, you go to the team you live the closest to. So that's the way that works. Then after that, the remainder of the rounds, well, there's two compensatory picks in between, which are compensatory picks for teams that lost players to the OHL. And then in addition to that, we have 10 rounds of reverse order finish traditional draft, no different than you see with any other group. The way it works is the protects and the comps get called up to the front along with the first two rounds after that. Then we call out each round as a group and we ask the players to go to the draft table of the team they were drafted by. So we're going to start with the comp picks, or the, what are they called again? Protected picks. The first team up is Renfrew, the Renfrew Timberwolves.
And the Renfrew Wolves will come up on stage. Casey Kenny here, Tristan Escobar, Jordan Hashi as well. So pleased to be joining you guys here for the 2025 CCHL Entry Draft.
Yeah, Casey, I'm excited. My first draft here in Junior A. I'm looking forward to it. Lots of new faces coming to join the league.
And Tristan, a pretty exciting night for all the young men
this
in this room. And
thank you for the Nepean Raiders for hosting. The first pick we're going to select is actually stuck in traffic. We will be calling him back up in the later round after the protect picks. Unfortunately, stuck in traffic, but the Renfrew Wolves, are very proud to select from the Ottawa Valley Titans, Andrew Enright. And like I said, Andrew, we will call up later when he arrives. With our other protect pick, the Renfrew Wolves are proud to select from Ottawa Myers, Benjamin Carr.
And there you have it. The first two picks in as the Renfrew Wolves have stepped up to the podium and made their selections. First player that they mentioned taking off the board, Andrew Enright, and a little bit of information about him.
Yeah, absolutely, Casey. So Andrew Enright from the Ottawa Valley Titans, the U16, the 6'1", 168-pound defender. He is a lefty. And Jordan, what are his game stats?
Yeah, well, after the little round of applause, won 32 games total regular season, including the OHL Cup. He's up to 12 points, and then 4 points in 9 playoff games for the young defenseman. And like you said, standing at over 6 feet, he might be able to also bring a physical presence over to that Renfrew team.
Such an important draft for the Renfrew Wolves as the Nepean Raiders will step up next. The Renfrew Wolves, who had a tough season, but do have 5 picks in the first round of the draft. Just a little bit about the player that they took first overall, Andrew Enright. His skill set notable for his balance and control, as now the Nepean Raiders will step up to make their selections.
On behalf of the Nepean Raiders, I'd like to thank Kevin Ferguson and the CCHL for organizing the draft and welcome all the families and the players to the 2025 draft. The Nepean Raiders are proud to select with our first protect from the Myers U16 AAA, Karsten Barbeau.
Carson Barbeau, the first player taken by Nepean, and very fitting that we're right here at the Nepean Sportsplex here tonight with the Raiders up making their selections.
Yeah, and Karsten Barbeau, also a pick in the OHL draft this year. Went actually in the 4th round to the Sault Ste. Marie Greyhounds. Special talent over there in Myers.
And like we mentioned, Karsten Barbeau, the 6'3", a big center left wing, 179 pounds, lefty from Canada. And, you know, Jordan, again, you got a big player like that. Big forward for the Nepean Raiders. What is he looking like for stats?
Yeah, well, he's up above a point per game in that U16 HEO
With our second
league.
selection of the protect rounds, we'd like to select from Myers U16 AAA, Jack Malandra.
And Jack Malandra, the second name called by the Nepean Raiders here this evening. And Nepean hopes to build on that, an exciting future. During the season, they had a couple of 16-year-olds in that lineup who stepped in and played big roles for that team. So it's a youth movement, I believe, that they'll want to continue to go with.
Yeah, absolutely. And both these guys playing for Myers, both of them also OHL draft picks. Jack Malandra went in the 9th round to the Brampton Steelheads. And Tristan, why don't you tell us a little bit about Jack Malandra?
Yeah, absolutely. The left winger, the 6 foot, 183-pound lefty from Ottawa. And Casey, what can you tell us a little bit about Jack Malandra?
Well, Jack Malandra, you know, is a player who had a great season last year. Excited to join the Nepean Raiders right here, not too far from home. And I know that he's hoping to make the team next season. Of course, it's tough to do so as a younger person, a 16-year-old, but hoping to break in and make America as early as next season. So he's keeping his fingers crossed for that, and we'll have to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and that's what you're hoping for in these early picks, is that there's a chance.
Next team to announce their protects are the Ottawa Junior Senators.
That there's a chance that some of these guys might break into your lineup first year and show some real development over the course of their first off-season being eligible for junior.
As the Ottawa Junior Senators now step up to the podium, and they will make their draft picks. OJS, who again had a tough season.
Thank you, Nepean Raiders, for hosting, and welcome all the players and families. With the first selection in the protect round, the Ottawa Junior Senators are proud to select from the Upper Canada Cyclones, Evan Graham.
Evan Graham, the first name called by a couple players from the Ottawa Junior Senators who step up to make this selection. And interesting to see how the different teams go about it and who exactly makes that call.
With the second pick in the protect round, the Ottawa Junior Senators are proud to select from the Ottawa Junior 67s, Will Walker.
And Will Walker, double W. I had a chance to look him up a little bit last night, and with the 2 W's in his name, maybe the third will be winning. That's what he's hoping for anyway. Taking a quick look at Evan Graham, a skilled defenseman, excels in terms of mobility and puck control. And what about his stats?
Yeah, well, Graham, actually a small defenseman as well. He's just under 5'5" as of right now. Maybe he's hoping to grow a little bit, but 34 points in 30 games in that U16 HEO AAA league. I mean, that's pretty impressive for a defenseman. You can see why he's getting drafted here with that kind of production. And in terms for William Walker, well, he had 39 points in 32 games for the Ottawa Junior 67s.
The next team to announce their selections are the Hawkesbury Hawks.
As the Hawkesbury Hawks will step up now. Hawkesbury, who had such a great start to last season, and of course saw a couple other guys leave for the Quebec League. Remy Joanna was one who had a great start, was leading in most statistical categories across the entire
Hawkesbury
league.
Hawks with their first select
and
here.
So Hawkesbury missed the playoffs.
Ottawa Valley Titans, Cameron Shepard.
Cameron Shepard, the first pick made by the Hawkesbury Hawks.
And Cameron Shepard, again, the 15-year-old from Richmond, Ontario, the forward and he shoots a left. Again, very great pick for the Hawkesbury Hawks. Jordan, stats-wise, what are we looking at?
Well, Cam Shepard, 34 games
and with
played.
our second protect from the Ottawa Valley Titans, James Roy.
34 games played, 39 points for Cam Shepard. And James Roy, well, he's a pretty good player as well. He got drafted into the OHL by the Guelph Storm in the 7th round in this past draft. So lots of talent from the OHL, obviously going to be coming to this league as well, hoping to develop and help this league help them make the next step. And lots of these players are hoping to try to make impacts right away. And I think James Roy, he could be someone that might do that. He had 71 points in 37 games last year in U16, 33 goals, by the way, nearly a goal per game, so that's just some incredible production. I wouldn't be surprised if he goes and makes Hawkesbury next year.
Yeah, and Roy is said to be a solid forward who utilizes his physicality to outmaneuver opponents in front of the net. So, an exciting prospect drafted by the Hawkesbury Hawks.
Yeah, and again, he's a 6 foot, 779 pounds. Again, a little bit on the skinnier side for a forward. Again, he's 6 foot, so he's definitely going to have to utilize that size to his advantage, Casey.
The next team to select are the Cornwall Colts.
As the Cornwall Colts will step up now. In Cornwall, who did go out in the first round to the Rockland Nationals, but you certainly have to give them full measure. It was a series that saw Cornwall compete in all of those games, and it was a good series for sure. I think Cornwall's definitely on the up and up, and we'll see who they draft.
Yeah, Casey, I was out there for much of those Cornwall games.
Colts with their first
and they really fought hard.
From the Eastern Ontario Wild, Caleb Gauthier.
It was Caleb Gauthier as the player that the Cornwall Colts take with their first round pick.
And again, the 6'2" defender. He's a tall guy, 176 pounds. The 16-year-old from Castleman. Definitely a great pick, as they definitely need height on their team. And Jordan, what are we looking at for stats?
Well, 18 points in 32 games. Perfectly acceptable and steady numbers from a defenseman. It's what you want, especially if you're hoping the defenseman will be more of a defensive guy. That kind of production is pretty normal, pretty good, and kind of what you're looking for heading into looking to maybe have him jump to the next level. Of course, defenseman, it does take a little bit longer to develop, doesn't it, Casey?
It certainly does.
Cornwall
for sure,
Colts with their second protect from the 67s, Carter Verdoni.
As Carter Verdoni becomes the second round pick for the Cornwall Colts. But Cornwall is a team that we saw Brandon Rockwell, who a younger player who got a chance to play in the playoffs, got a chance to join the team halfway through. As you mentioned, you made the excellent calls of those games in the first round, so you got a chance to see some of those guys. And Rockwell, part of that promising future, I'd say.
Yeah, I was pleasantly impressed with what I saw from him. He didn't get too much action being a call-up from Junior B, but from what I saw, whenever he played, he didn't look out of place. He looked like he belonged there, and I think if he has a good off-season, he has a very good chance to crack that lineup regularly next season.
Interesting, two prospects added to the fold for the Colts.
Yeah, and they're definitely going to need it. I was with Jordan in some of those games in the Cornwall Rockland series, and you can tell there's a lot of fight in them, and you can definitely tell Cornwall definitely has a promising future in the CCHL.
There's lots of family and friends gathered here this evening at the Nepean Sportsplex for this great event put on by the CCHL. Cast of thousands behind the scenes here helping us. I want to thank everybody who's making this a reality here tonight to put this together. And we'll wait for the next picks to be made. As we wait for Terry Nichols to step back up to the podium.
And lots of these teams, Casey, I find have very nice jerseys.
They do, for sure, yeah.
Before I got into...
The next team to announce their selects is Kempville 73s.
There goes Kempville, who have, I would say, some very nice black jerseys, and I'm sure you're familiar
for sure,
with those.
Yeah, I'm familiar, obviously, with the 73s. And the black jerseys are nice. As a play-by-play guy, they're a little hard to see sometimes the names on the back of those jerseys, but they have all three there tonight. Kempville, they have the white, they have the red, and they have the black.
Protect from Ottawa Myers, Will Mullins.
As Kempville 73's head coach and owner Sean Fetzel steps up and announces that Will Mullins will be the player that they will take in the first round.
And again, Casey, it's a right winger, 5'11", 172 pounds from Ottawa. He's a righty. And again, Casey, when you know this is the team that you have been doing play for, how do you feel about them drafting such a talented guy like Will Mullins?
Well, I mean, you take a look at Mullins. I believe he was the 5th ranked scorer in the HEO U16 from this past season. So obviously a guy who can help out on offense, and that's what the 73s need. It was a tough, hard-fought series against the Carleton Place Canadians. Certainly want to give Carleton Place full measure. They won the series in 4, and rightfully so. But if you can bring a player in who can put the puck in the back of the net, that was sometimes the trouble in the series, was they couldn't score quite enough.
would also like to protect from Ottawa Myers, Finley McLean.
As Finley McLean, the second-round player that the 73s will take as well.
And when we look at Finley McLean here, Casey, 5'10", 168 pounds, another goal scorer. And Jordan, when we're looking at stats, what are we looking at?
Well, for McLean, defenseman as well, so his point production might not be quite as high.
Is the Brockville Braves.
But, I mean, still some great production from him. 29 points in 31 games. That's what you want to see from a future offensive defenseman. And 17 goals as well in the regular season, which is very, very impressive.
You take a look at some of the other prospects 73s have, including Jay-Z and Barusha Mana, who, of course, has scored a lot of goals in HEO.
So first,
so
thank
hopefully
you for
a
the
promising
Nepean
future,
Raiders for
fingers
hosting
crossed.
such a great event today.
Not that I'm biased.
With our first protected pick, the Brockville Braves are proud to select from the Upper Canada Cyclones, Carter Cuglietta.
As Carter Cuglietta is taken by the Brockville Braves.
And the center, the 5'9" center, is 152 pounds, a little smaller, but definitely will use his speed at the center position. The lefty, and Jordan's stats for Carter Cuglietta.
Well, 39 points, 36 games played through the regular season, including the OHL Cup Showcase. I mean, that's exactly what you want from your top guys. If they can produce at a high level, at the level under, you know, they'll be able to have a smoother transition, I would say, coming upwards into Junior A.
And with our second protected pick, the Brockville Braves select Cole McLennan from Upper Canada Cyclones.
Cole McLennan, and we know how to spell his name. We had a little bit of trouble myself looking him up earlier, just misspelled the name, but was able to figure it out after. But certainly an exciting player who will join the team, and yeah, he's another exciting prospect taken by the Brockville Braves.
And the 6'1" defender, a little bit undersized, 181. Again, his height definitely used for his advantage. Jordan.
Yeah, and 14 points in 31 games for McLennan. And he'll be joining his teammate Carter Cuglietta. So both these guys drafted from the Cyclones. And they'll hope for these guys to be real contributors heading into the future.
What do you think that means for a team that makes its picks to take from the same team, to take from the Cyclones? Obviously, these two guys know each other. They played together. Is that an advantage?
Well, certainly, and I think it can be like a mixture of two things. I mean, one thing is if they're playing on the same units together on one team, they can help ease their transition into the next level. Just because you already know what the other guy's thinking, you already know how he is, and it's also someone you're just familiar with. So in terms of acclimation, it can help you as well.
Thank you, Nepean Raiders, for hosting the draft. The Pembroke Lumber Kings are proud to select from the Ottawa Valley Aces, Will Ryan.
As Will Ryan gets drafted by the Pembroke Lumber Kings. I know we're at a U16 draft. I don't believe the young man who just made the announcement is being drafted. He looks a little too young yet, but certainly steps up and makes the first-round selection for the PLK.
And maybe in the future, Casey, maybe in the future, who knows, as William Ryan, the center, 5'11", 161 pounds from Pembroke, Ontario. Again, definitely looks to be a great pick for the Pembroke Lumber Kings, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely. And he has definitely had a really strong season as he hits 40 goals in 29 games. That's probably the best production we've seen so far out of all these draft picks, including 72 points as well. Great season, and they're definitely hoping he can be a contributor. He's still just 15 years of age, so he's got a bit of time to start climbing the ranks here, but if he can get a good off season ahead of him, there's a real chance that
Pembroke Lumber
numbers
Kings
like
are proud
that, he
to
can
select with their second pick
crack the Lumber
in the
Kings
Ottawa
lineup.
Valley Titans, Brian Rathwell.
As Brian Rathwell is taken in the second round by the Pembroke Lumber Kings.
And again, the goalie, the 6'5" goaltender out of Pembroke, the 229-pounder. Again, Jordan, they already have Michael Modelski in goalkeeping right now, who's been absolutely fantastic for them. What do you think Brian Rathwell will bring to this Pembroke Lumber Kings team?
Well, I think to start, he'll bring some depth, and I think that's what's kind of important, really, as you have Modelski, right, already in there. He can play for a couple more years, and then when Modelski's ready to move up or graduate, then Rathwell will have had enough time to develop. He's had a very good season, including a 208 goals against average in 19 games played last year in the HEO U16 AAA League.
As of right now, we are just going to be waiting for Commissioner to announce the other picks, as I believe it's going to be Rockland selecting their picks soon.
The next team to announce their selects are the Smith Falls Bears.
I'm completely wrong. It was the Smith Falls Bears. Apologies for that.
Well, that's all right, as Smith Falls had a pretty good season. They're still in the playoffs right now as well. They'll be playing actually tomorrow night in Rockland,
Bears
Game 7.
To select from Myers, U16 Cole Stance.
And Cole Stance goes up as Cole Stance, the man, the 5'10", a little bit smaller defender, 160 pounds, definitely adding a lot of speed. The Smith Falls Bears team, again, 6 out of their 24 players right now in the playoff run are under 6 foot tall, as they added a 5'10" guy, Jordan.
Yeah, and Cole Stance, defenseman, 15 points, 34 games. Definitely what you want. And he's coming from Ottawa Myers Automotive. Lots of these guys getting drafted tonight. And we'll see who they are picking next.
And how about that, eh? Both series in the CCHL playoffs going 7 games. Pretty exciting.
Yeah, it certainly is, Casey. And you just love that level of hockey, showing the competitiveness in this league, and even Smith Falls putting up a big fight against the Rockland Nationals, who had an incredible season last year. And the next pick for the Bears is Carter Beauchesne. And Tristan, well, we break him down.
Yeah, absolutely. The 16-year-old from Ottawa, the center, who's 5'11", 165 pounds. Definitely another speedy guy for the Smith Falls roster. And that's definitely going to be, right now, Smith Falls are playing Rockland. And they're doing absolutely fantastic. Their speed and their size has definitely brought them to this Game 7. Even though they're undersized, they're still very good at what they do, Jordan.
Yeah, and Beauchesne touted as a very versatile forward that you can kind of play anywhere on the ice. 35 games played last year, 40 points. And in the playoffs, he even turned it up a little bit more, as he had 17 points, including 9 goals in 10 games, which is exactly what you want.
And with our first selection, the Navangrads are proud to select from the Eastern Ontario Wild, defenseman Caleb Fogarty.
Drafted by the Navangrads.
And Caleb Fogarty, the 5'9" defenseman, 161 pounds. He's the lefty from Chrysler, Ontario. And Navan having a pretty good series right now, wouldn't you say, Jordan?
Yeah, they're heading to 7 as well tomorrow. They'll be live on CCHL Radio if anyone wants to catch that game. But Fogarty, defenseman as well. He's supposed to be quite well-rounded, who's very balanced in terms of his defensive and offensive abilities, and is a great skater. And, well, he had a good year last year, 22 points in 35 games.
And that's the thing about having a 12-team league, is that even though you're one of the best teams in the league, you still get a chance to draft some great young players. It's not like, for example, the NHL, where there's 32, even though a late first-round pick there is pretty decent as well. Here, when you have the 12 rounds, you're almost guaranteed that you're going to get a good prospect that will be coming into your lineup, and if not next season, seasons to come.
Yeah, absolutely, Casey. And, I mean, we're seeing it. All these guys that are coming in, or at least many of these forwards, especially are putting up some really good stats in U16, above a point per game, around a point per game, lots of goals. And that's just the kind of quality you're going to get when the league is not quite as large as maybe some others, including the NHL.
And Connor Hafner, the 6'3" goalkeeper out of Ottawa, 176 pounds. Navan, debatably one of the best teams with their prospect pool, have been very good this season.
Yeah, and he was the Hafner goaltender.
The next two teams, which I call up, are both hosting Game 7s tomorrow night in their arenas. So if you have time, you want to go out and watch some good, exciting hockey, I'd highly recommend it. The next team to announce their protects is the Carleton Place Canadians.
Yeah, and there you go. Just as we were talking about, some Game 7s going on tomorrow.
And we will have that game, Carleton Place, and as they go to Game 7, we'll have it live on CCHL Radio, the Navan Grads and the
Carleton Place Canadians are proud to select from the Ottawa Valley Titans, Logan Wilson.
Yes, Logan Wilson, taken by the Carleton Place Canadians. That'll be their first-round pick.
And the center, the 5'9" center out of Almonte, Ontario, 176 pounds. Carleton Place, you know, they're getting rid of some great players like Loic Perdon, as he's committed to the Ottawa GGs for next season. What's it like to be adding such an important piece like Logan Wilson, Jordan?
Well, I can tell you that that's kind of the prospect, an ideal prospect for this Carleton Place team. He's a physical forward who's also very good on his edges, is creative, can skate well, and he put up some great stats in U16 last year. 58 points in 36 games, including 27 goals. This guy likes to put the puck in the net.
Carleton Place Canadians are proud to select from the Ottawa Valley Titans, Carter Kunopaski.
As now a defenseman taken by the Carleton Place Canadians. Heard good things about Kubalowski before the draft here tonight. Good steady stay-at-home defenseman will come in and play an important role in the Carleton Place Canadians. Already strong on defense. Just keep adding to that.
And again, Casey, they're adding another big guy, 6'1", 205. That's definitely a big defender you want in Connor Kunopowski. He also has a very fun last name to say, Jordan.
Yeah, Kunopowski, strong, supposed to be a strong defensive guy like Casey just mentioned. Good positioning and uses his frame effectively, and he'll obviously have to keep continuing to develop his frame heading into junior A, as it does get much more difficult. But he had 25 points in 37 games as well. So for a guy that you're hoping makes a big defensive impact, those are still some great numbers that you can really look forward to, and him maybe developing into more of a two-way guy.
Is there something to as well? Carleton Place, a bit of a smaller rink in drafting size. You know, you have big guys playing for your side in that type of a rink. I mean, might be something that the team has in mind when they step up the draft.
I'd like to announce our regular season champions, the Rockland Nats, up to announce their
now the Rockland Nationals, who had an amazing season, and will now step up to draft. And of course, they're involved in that Game 7 tomorrow night against the Smiths Falls Bears. Understand you can hear that live right here on CKDJ 107.9.
And funny enough, Casey, Jordan and I were actually at the game.
First off, the Rockland Nationals would like to thank the Nepean Raiders for hosting, and Kevin Ferguson and the CCHL team for hosting a great event. With our first protect, the Rockland Nationals are proud to select from the Ottawa Valley Titans, Zachary White.
And as I was just mentioning, Casey, again, Jordan and I were actually at the Game 6 in Smith Falls, and Rockland, their defense was lacking a little bit, as they really needed it, especially for Benoit Forget, who they are going to be losing this season coming up. Again, the 6'1", 196-pound defender out of Ottawa. Jordan, how are we looking for stats?
Yeah, well, White put up 27 points in 35 games throughout the regular season. And yeah, he's a good player. They'll look to continue to add to their blue line. They're also losing their captain and Josh O'Connor after this season. So lots of changes will be made in Rockland, and he'll hopefully be a good one.
And I want to ask you guys, too, of course, Rockland having such a strong season, all season long. How did they find themselves in a 7-game series here?
Well, I think what it comes down to is Smiths Falls I think they just
With our second selection, the Nats are proud to select from the Ottawa Valley Titans, Jaden Switzer.
As Jaden Switzer gets taken off the board.
Yeah, and what it comes down to for Rockland is Smiths Falls putting together a great scouting report, in my opinion. They're finding effective ways to frustrate the Nationals, to ensure that even though it seems like they're dictating the pace of the game, it's in the hands of the Bears. They've played very well defensively in terms of limiting shots to the outside, and they found a way that in transition, sometimes Rockland can get over aggressive, and they've been able to punish that and get some goals that maybe shouldn't have happened. But credit to them, as I think it just comes down to scouting and coaching in that way. And Smiths Falls have had a great series. It'll be interesting to see how the game goes tomorrow.
Now, Tristan, I don't know if you're a man who makes any predictions, but how are you thinking that game's going to play out tomorrow night?
You know, every time I make a prediction, Casey, it always goes the wrong way. So I want Rockland to win. Do I think they're going to win? I don't know. I think their Game 6 really showed some of their weaknesses. As, funny enough, we actually see our first international player come up, Jane Switzer, from Landesberg am Lech, Germany, the 5'8", 161 pounder.
For the first compensatory
Talking
pick,
to a scout
Rockland
ahead of the draft here about Switzer in particular, there was some talk that maybe he might return home to play in Germany next season. Not exactly sure how that will all play out for him. It's possible. So that's why teams may have held off on taking him, or that's why he may have dropped a little bit. But certainly a very talented player, and part of that Titans team that just had such a strong season. You take a look at the leaderboard in the AGO, scattered all over with players from that team, also winning the championship. So no surprise that he gets taken, but perhaps it'll be interesting to keep an eye on exactly how his future plays out.
And there's Reed Harper going for the Rockland Nationals, the right winger.
Yeah, Jordan, and the 6'2", 157-pound right winger out of Ottawa, Ontario. It's a big right winger that, again, Rockland definitely, along with Navin, definitely have some of the best prospect pools, especially right now in their playoff run in their Game 7 Wednesday. And adding another big forward definitely going to help out in the lineup.
And the compensation picks, rather easy for me to say, but the compensation picks that guys move on to the OHL or move on to another league. This is what they get to do, draft a player in exchange for that. So interested to see how this all plays out and how this draft unfolds here.
For the next compensatory pick, I'd like to invite up the Nepean Raiders.
Compensatory pick.
Compensatory. It's a big word.
Compensatory.
Nepean Raiders are proud to select with our compensatory pick from the 67s U16 AAA, Oscar Conobel.
As Austin Conobel gets taken now. And now this is the interesting part to see these players getting up, because beforehand, coming into the first round and the second round as well, players may have had an idea of where they were going, but now you see that the players are getting up out of the crowd, walking up onto the stage. They're surprised, some of them, as to where they get picked. So this is an interesting part to watch as well.
Yeah, and Oscar Conobel, there's another international player coming in from Slovenia. And the Nepean Raiders also have Tristan Conobel on their team. I'll make sure, but I believe they are related. And Oscar is going to come over as he'll look to continue his career after playing with the Junior 67s.
And again, joining his youth team was HC Hevica Praha, coming out of Kranj, Slovenia.
That's very impressive that you can pronounce all that.
My tongue is absolutely fantastic. I got raised well. Wow. But again, big defender for the Nepean Raiders, 6'3", 172 pounds.
Once you're selected, could go to the back to get pictures done individually. It's at the very back of the room. So, with their first round selection, it's the Renfrew Timberwolves.
And now the Renfrew Timberwolves will step up and make their first round pick after the area players that they were closest to where the rinks are based out of get drafted in the rounds that we just saw. Now the first round will play out with the Renfrew Wolves stepping up to make the first.
And just before that, as promised, Our protect pick has arrived from the traffic. Andrew from the Ottawa Valley Titans, Andrew Enright.
And there's Enright stepping up. And I can confirm there was a lot of traffic on the way here. And I was here early, by the way, so this was before rush hour. I'm sure it got so much worse. So I can't even blame him for being a little late.
For sure.
And I can also second that as myself and our audio technician, Mr. Dan Mellon. I was right behind him, and it was traffic chaos. We were behind at least 10 to 12 cars there.
I've heard perhaps that Mr. Mellon has a special light that he can put on top of his vehicle to cut through traffic. I don't know if that's true or not. Just word on the street. But no, you guys made it here nevertheless, and here we are.
As Andrew Enright, the 6'1" defender, 168 pounds, he looks absolutely incredible for the Renfrew Wolves.
Yeah, he will be a good player. Obviously, the Wolves 5 first-round picks, and a number of trades made leading up to the CCHL trade deadline draft, and that's why they have so many.
First-round pick from the Upper Canada Cyclones, Quinn Young.
There's Quinn Young,
and there's another Renfrew pick as Quinn Young.
Quinn is at the Franco-Ontarian Hockey Tournament championships right now, so we'd like to call up Tim and Charlene Young, or Tim and/or Charlene, or one or the other, to come up and receive the jersey on the side here and hat. Thank you.
Tristan, perhaps some details about this player.
Yeah, absolutely, Casey. Again, 5'10", 176 pounds, the forward, the righty. Again, like you mentioned, Casey, 5 first-round picks, so Renfrew's definitely, their prospect pool is definitely going to get deeper, and it's definitely going to be
next up is the Nepean
a
Raiders.
lot better than it was last year.
And the Raiders up next year, and Quinn Young, 34 points in 35 games.
Nepean Raiders are proud to select.
Young has demonstrated a strong scoring presence.
And there's a pick in Ryan Kingan, who I'm very much not surprised that he got selected here. 2008 born. He played actually a couple games for the Nepean Raiders last season. He's brothers with Owen Kingan, but he had 27 points in 28 games in U18 AAA. He's a forward, unlike his brother. He's also not quite as big, standing at just around 5'9", but I think the Raiders are pretty hopeful for this young man.
And again, when you have brothers in the same team like Owen Kingan, it's definitely going to make an impact on... The Nepean definitely knew what they were doing with that pick. As again, he's 170 pounds, the center. He looks absolutely incredible. Hopefully he plays just like his brothers.
Next team up is the Ottawa Junior Senators.
As the Ottawa Junior Senators will step up and make their 3rd overall pick selection. And we have now a number of the players here back at the
Ottawa Junior Senators are proud to select
all part of the fun process.
From the Eastern Ontario Wild, Presley Kelly Wright.
That's Presley Kelly Wright, the player taken by the Ottawa Junior Senators. And a little bit of information about him, gentlemen, if we can.
Yeah, 100%. Again, the 16-year-old, the defenseman from Canada, looks absolutely fantastic. And Jordan, stats-wise, for
15 points in 31 games. All of those are apples. So a big assist man here. But yeah, it's another guy. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that is the first Wild player drafted.
It is.
If I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, for sure.
Correct.
So good for him coming over there. It's been largely dominated by the Cyclones, the Titans, and Myers.
Now, when we go to call his games in the future, gentlemen, we have to decide, are we going to go Kelly Wright? Are we going to go Presley Kelly Wright? Are we going to use all 3 names? Maybe just Mr. Wright? So it'll be something
Casey,
we'll have to decide upon.
I think you need to switch it up a little bit. I think you need to call him PKW.
Oh, all right.
Use all his first initials.
Sounds good to me.
Make him sound even more special than he is.
For sure. We can definitely do that. As we wait for the next player to be taken here.
The Renfrew Wolves are proud to select from the Ottawa Valley Titans, Hunter Sim.
Hunter Sim, the next pick taken by the Renfrew Wolves.
And another forward, Casey, that they are going to be taking, the forward out of the 16-year-old forward. Again, another depth piece that they are going to be adding to their prospect pool, Jordan.
Yeah. And Hunter Sim, 23 points in 36 games with the Titans in the regular season this past year. And he'll look to, like you said, add some more depth to their prospect pool. So many picks for Renfrew. They still got a couple more coming. So I think they really sold at the deadline and bottoming out, but giving their fans some hope into the future.
He brings a physical presence to the ice, uses his the long reach that he has to gain possession of pucks by getting his stick around opponents' bodies. And the Renfrew Wolves put out a letter to fans at the end of last season, just talking about the direction of the team, the direction of the franchise. Obviously, a very tough season last year, but you take a look at the picks that they're making here. You take a look at some of the prospects that they acquired in trades major in the season. Toby Olmstead, one of those players who we saw have a great season in the EOJHL, but certainly I would say a promising future for the Renfrew Wolves.
Yeah, 100%. And Renfrew needs that.
Cornwall Colts.
Renfrew needs some light
Eastern
at the end of the
Ontario
tunnel.
Wild. Coden,
I think these
Sloan.
picks are definitely going to be worth the light. They need something for sure, Casey.
As now the Cornwall Colts have stepped up and drafted Coden Sloan, and we'll take a look at him.
Yeah, and there goes a couple wild players as they start to come off the board. He's from Moose Creek, Ontario, Sloan is. He put up 8 points in 20 regular season games in the U16 league.
And Coden Sloan, smaller defender here, 5'9", 179 pounds. Definitely going to use his speed to his ability, Jordan.
Yeah, absolutely, Tristan. Sorry about that, but yeah, that's kind of what you're hoping for if you look scouting these players, if they have nice edges, or if they can skate very effectively. That's something that translates typically pretty well into Junior A.
And right now we are going to see another team picking a player.
The Kempville 73s stepping up as 73's head coach and owner Sean Frenzel steps up. Owen Robertson, who's one of the head scouts, will step up as well to help
Valley
out.
Titans, Carter Scott.
As Carter Scott selected by the Kempville 73s.
And Carter Scott, the forward out of Fairfax, VA, America, 5'11", 165 pounds, the lefty. Again, Jordan, stats-wise, what are we looking at?
Yeah, well, Casey, why don't you take this one?
Sure. But he's said to be a physically imposing forward who uses his size and strength to create space around the opposing net. In possession, he can be off balance, but effectively uses his body to shield sticks and direct pucks into the crease. Sounds like a great player, as we mentioned, a bigger player coming in at 6'2". So if size is what you like, and certainly every team likes to have some size out there, and sounds like Scott will be a good pick.
Next two selections are by the Renfrew Wolves.
As the Renfrew Wolves now hold on to the next two picks as their first round continues, and I call it their first round because it is pretty much theirs with 5 picks.
Yeah, nearly half the selections, and yeah, some of these teams
the Renfrew
obviously
Wolves
trading
are
their picks
proud
away.
to select from the Ottawa Myers, Liam Hayes.
Liam Hayes. Now selected by the Renfrew Wolves.
And Hayes getting a bit of extra applause here.
As he must be pretty good. Must be a pretty good pick for the Renfrew Wolves there. Again, the right winger, 5'10", 154 pounds. Definitely on the skinnier side. Definitely on the smaller side for the Renfrew Wolves from, of course, Ottawa. And Jordan, stats-wise, what are we looking at?
Well, 29 points in 31 games, about as clear-cut good production as it gets at this point in the draft after the first protected rounds. But a good first-round pick from Renfrew, and they'll continue to add some forward depth to the squad.
Came over in a trade this pick did with the Brockville Braves. As he's all smiles after he puts the jersey and hat on. And now the Wolves will stay up on the stage because the next pick belongs to them as well.
And once again, the Renfrew Wolves are proud to select from the Ottawa Junior 67s, Jacob Lalonde.
It's Jacob Lalonde from the Ottawa Junior 67s is now selected. This pick, by the way, came over in a move with the Pembroke Lumber Kings.
Again, the 16-year-old defender out of Ottawa, who's the lefty, Jacob Lalonde. Very great pick for the Renfrew Wolves, as they're not only expanding on their forward depth, but also their defender depth.
Next up are the Smith Falls Bears.
Yes, and they've got Jacob Lalonde and now Josh Lalonde on this team as well, as he's been on the Wolves, or he was on the Wolves this season, and Jacob put up 4 points in
Smith
32
Falls Bears
games
are proud to
this
select
season.
from the Cyclones Beckett Campbell.
This is Beckett Campbell now selected. Just back to the Wolves for a moment. I had a chance to speak to someone from the organization, and I asked them, is there any thought to taking a late pick on Caden McGregor, who was taken first overall in the OHL draft by Peterborough? Said it was an interesting thought, but they likely would not go ahead and do that, but certainly some thought put into it, because if there was any chance that he would play in the CCHL, taking a late pick on him, taking a flyer, might be a good risk. But as we see, Jacob Lalonde has been selected.
But yeah, clearly it seems, Casey, like he will be just making that transition right to the OHL.
Next up are the Renfrew Wolves.
As Beckett Campbell, goaltender, who had a .296 goals against average last year in 21 games. Pretty good stats for U16, as a lot more goals are scored at the younger levels of competition.
And like you mentioned,
the Renfrew Wolves are proud to select from the Eastern Ontario Cobras, Jacob Samuel.
Jacob Samuel taken now. It gets up, takes the suit jacket off, and will walk up to the stage.
Well, Casey, when you gotta take the suit jacket off to wear the jersey. If you put it over, it looks a little bit weird. If you ask me.
Too heavy, eh? Like having the jacket on underneath.
100%.
Just a lot of space taken up too.
Again, the 16-year-old defenseman for Renfrew, and they've taken 2 defenders right now, Renfrew, back to back. So again, really expanding. They took their forwards a little bit earlier, now going with their more defender-heavy class draft for the Renfrew Wolves.
Yeah, yeah, it makes sense. You want a good balance, right? I think that's the point. Renfrew not going to be shy about knowing that they need pretty much everything to rebuild this team from the ground up, finishing in last place this season. And Sommer, 48 points in 27 games this season, which is some incredible production. I think the best we've seen from a defenseman so far.
Sounds like he knows how to run a power
Next
play.
up are the Ottawa Junior Sens.
I know a few teams that need to, and especially that need to do that.
As the Ottawa Junior Senators now will step up to make their selection in front of a packed audience here at the Nepean Sportsplex on a Tuesday night. CCHL
The Ottawa Junior
2025
Senators are
entry
proud
draft.
to select from Ottawa Myers, Alex Tanglin.
As Alex Tanglin now will be taken. And you're listening to the entry draft on CKDJ 107.9. Thank you so much for taking time out of your Tuesday night to join us.
And that pick was from Carleton Place originally.
And Alex Tanglin is selected.
And the defender, the 5'11" defender, 170 pounds from Ottawa. Again, playing for the Ottawa Myers Automotive. We've seen a lot of players taken from either the Titans, the Ottawa Myers Automotive, or a lot of these big AAA teams.
Yeah, and Tanglin, 15 points in 36 regular season games. As he walks off the stage.
Next up are the Rockland Nats.
Rockland Nationals coming up next to draft as we see a number of players walk by us in front of us, and most of them are taller than me already.
Well, that's unfortunate, Casey.
Well, I'm not saying I'm short, but I mean, I'm closer to the ground than they are.
Hey, advantages and disadvantages from both ends.
For sure. We'll wait for the next draft
Rockland
pick to
Nats
be
are
made.
proud to select from the U16 Myers AAA program, Dean Sloan.
As Dean Sloan is taken by the Rockland Nationals. And if hockey doesn't work out for him, I think he could be perhaps an action star with a name like that. Dean Sloan, a little bit like Bruce Willis in some ways. But
I was thinking more of an actor, but yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And if we take a look at Sloan, what are some of his details?
So again, he is a forward at 5'10", 154 pounds.
Moving on to the next.
And Jordan, stats-wise, looking for the good old Dean Sloan, the future action star. If he doesn't, hockey
it's
doesn't
action on the ice, I think, for sure.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, Dean Sloan, Ottawa native here, and playing in AAA, he's had a pretty good season last year, putting up 28 points in 32 games, nearly point per game player. Again, lots of these guys. These are the top of the top players from AAA.
Round. And the Renfrew Wolves are proud to select from the Upper Canada Cyclones, Ethan Gillespie.
Ethan Gillespie, selected by the Renfrew Wolves from the Upper Canada Cyclones. The Cyclones, who had such a great season, came just a little bit short in the final to the Titans, but certainly were full measure for what they showed this season.
And Casey, a lot of players actually taken from the Cyclones and the Titans and the Myers automotive teams, as these teams were stacked. As again, the 16-year-old forward from Canada. Jordan, how are we looking on stats for him?
Well, 14 points in 32 games, and he'll look to continue to grow, including 7 points in 10 playoff games as well, which is pretty good production in the playoffs.
One of the, and you'll notice rather that bright sort of orange hair that he has underneath. We had a chance. We had the U18 tournament take place in Kempville just a few weeks ago. All the players on the Cyclones team U18 had their hair rather dyed that color. So it's a theme, I believe.
Proud to select from Myers U18 AAA Owen Kelly.
As Owen Kelly now gets taken by the Nepean Raiders.
And Kelly from U18 AAA, so not coming from U16 like
next are the Ottawa
most
Junior
are, but he's nearly point per game in U18, just sitting a year older than most of these prospects, but moving up a level and staying at that point per game pace is certainly impressive, and that's why he's getting drafted here. He also played 2 games for Renfrew in the CCHL this past season, but he will be moving over to Nepean in the future, and I think for a player like him, Kelly, there's a chance he can crack that lineup being a slightly older player and playing already at a higher level of competition.
And like you mentioned, Owen Kelly, again, did play for Renfrew, has some experience, definitely going to bring that to the Nepean Raiders. And I see him maybe being the future Nick Hubin, as again, he is a big center, 6'1", 172 pounds. They are losing Nick Hubin, who was absolutely phenomenal for them. He's going to play some U Sports.
The Ottawa Junior Senators are proud to select from Ottawa Myers, Kyrou Gardner.
As Kyrou Gardner goes off the board, Casey.
Yeah, Kyrou Gardner. Player taken by the Ottawa Junior Senators as they continue their rebuild, hoping that he will be a big part of it. And what are we looking at as far as some of the stats that he was able to put up last season?
Yeah, well, Gardner, 21 points in 32 games. Pretty good stats. Again, we're still talking about at this stage in the draft the best of the best players, and he's been playing hockey around Nepean for a while, but drafted by the Ottawa Junior Senators, so he won't be moving too far.
And again, he's a forward, 6 foot, 172 pounds. As you mentioned, Casey, they are starting the rebuild.
Next team up
even
is
though
the
they
Hawkesbury Hawks.
Even though the Ottawa Junior Senators did not have a terrible season, and they didn't have the season they hoped to have, but again, just getting some more depth at the forward position.
And depth is key. It's never a bad thing, obviously, to be able to have some depth in there, be able to have, you want your lines to be as strong as they possibly can be.
Hawks are proud to select
and I think that's a pick that will certainly help. As the Hawkesbury Hawks have now stepped up and selected Colton Sarrazin. And a little bit of information, if we can, about Mr. Sarrazin.
And again, Colton Sarrazin, He's actually probably the shortest player that we've mentioned so far. 5'3", 110 pounds. But man, does he have speed. And he's actually 13 years old. So.
And he actually is. There's two Coltons Harrisons.
There is two of them, yeah. I know.
As he is 16 years old.
Yeah.
But putting up 10 goals in 29
Next up are the Cornwall Colts.
games in U16. He also played a game up in U18 AAA, and he played 8 games in the playoffs for the Cyclones. In U16, he'll look to continue his goal-scoring prowess into the next level as, again, lots of these guys, if you have a good offseason heading into your Junior A year, you can really hit the ground running and at least make a crack
Cornwall
a roster.
Colts select from the Eastern Ontario Wild, Carter McDonnell.
That's Carter McDonnell, selected by the Cornwall Colts. Another player from the Eastern Ontario Wild. As Cornwall had a steady season, did suffer a loss in the first round to the Rockland Nationals, but they continued to pick up players that I believe will play a big role in their future, including Carter McDonnell, if we take a look at his information.
Yeah, McDonnell played 30 games for the Cyclones, 1 point, and in 4 playoff games he had a goal and no assist for 1 point. But I believe, if I am not mistaken, there is also a McDonnell already on the Cornwall Colts, named Fraser McDonnell, who's a very big, tall defenseman.
The next team to
so
select
maybe they're
are the
hoping he can be something similar to Fraser in terms of his physical prowess and ability in the defensive zone.
The Kempville 73s will step up with the next pick.
Because that's your hometown team, Casey. So,
I'm very interested in all the picks for sure. Maybe keeping my eyes a little bit more closer on the 73, certainly. But it's exciting.
Are proud to select from the Upper Canada Cyclones, Sebastian Chelfour.
Sebastian Chelfour, selected by the Kempville 73s, who had a good season, making it back into the playoffs for the first time in a couple of seasons, getting a chance to get back in. Played the Carleton Place Canadians, as you mentioned, suffered that a sweep in the first round, but certainly a good series, and 73s were full measure for the games that they got to play in, but Chelfour will get a chance, I believe, to take part in the 73s Prospects Camp, which is coming up in just a few weeks.
And Casey, I know you're definitely going to be excited for that. As again, the 6-foot defender, 165 pounds. And he looks to be a fantastic addition to this Kempville 73s team, Jordan.
Yeah, 5 points in 10 playoff games for him. Certainly respectable in what you're looking for
the next
from
team
your defenseman.
are the Brockville Braves.
And here come the Braves up for their next selection.
Brockville Braves, who had a strong season as well. Kind of an up and down season, but certainly near the end.
Brockville Braves
winning
are proud
a
to
number
select
of
from the
games in a
Ottawa
row to get into the
67s, Matthew
postseason,
Lake.
and then, of course, going out in the first round. But certainly they played well in that first round. As Matthew Leke gets drafted by the Brockville Braves. And we take a look at his information.
As Matthew Leke, the forward out of Ottawa, 6'6", a big right winger, 220 pounds, definitely going to add a lot of size to this Brockville Braves team, who have already been so great, especially like you mentioned, Casey, at the end of this regular season, winning a few road games, getting themselves to the playoffs. And Jordan, how are we looking for stats?
Yeah, well, like you're saying, that frame is ideal for what you want from a physical player, from a physical standpoint. 14 points for him in 26 games over last season. And they'll hope for him to really fill out that frame with real playable strength. And one thing
Nepean Raiders are proud to select from Eastern Ontario Wild, U16 AAA, Dax McKinnon.
And there's Dax McKinnon for the home venue Nepean Raiders.
And Jordan, you and I are going to be we're paying attention to the Nepean Raiders picks, as the 5'6" center, 157 pounds, out of Ottawa, Ontario, the lefty, Jordan, how you feel about this pick?
Yeah, I think he's looking at all this production here. I mean, he seems like a good player. 28 points in 32 games, including 16 goals. That's a goal every other game, which is exactly the kind of production you hope can translate over into Junior A. Now, yes, lots of these players, most players trying to come into Junior A are putting up this level of points, but he's not under the threshold. He's above the threshold, what you want. And hopefully he can be a speedy forward that can put pucks in the net for the Raiders
team up
for
are the
seasons
Smith
to
Falls
come.
Bears.
As the Smith Falls Bears will step up, and when they do, we'll listen in for the pick. As they will make their way to the podium.
Smith Falls Bears are proud to select from the Cyclones Luke Miller.
That's Luke Miller, selected by the Smith Falls Bears. And we'll take a look at his information.
As there's actually a lot of Luke Millers out here. So,
very common name.
Very common name here.
Smith Falls, a team too that's done well this season, obviously heading into Game 7, but a team that perhaps this season, exceeded expectations. Who knows exactly where they will end up, but certainly a team that's picked up some momentum along the way and has shown well.
Yeah, and Miller, center. Playmaking center as well, 5'9", roughly 150 pounds. Put up 24 points in 36 games last year with the Cyclones.
Next team up are the Navan Grads.
And had 9 points in 10 playoff games as well as the Navan Grads. Next up to the podium, and again, the Grads looking to continue on their season. I find it very interesting that the draft is right in the middle of the playoffs, Casey.
Yeah, it certainly is interesting for sure. I mean, you never quite know how long the series are going to be. We'll take a moment just to hear exactly who they will select.
Navan Grads are proud to select from the Ottawa 67s defenseman Liam Rossiter.
It's Liam Rossiter, selected by the Navan Grads. But certainly, as we mentioned earlier, seeing both of the series go 7 games. Not exactly, what we thought or maybe expected, but certainly great hockey, and that's why the draft falls where it does. But you have to remember, other teams that are out also have prospects camps coming up and whatnot. So, so we take a look at exactly who Liam Rossiter is.
As he is a defender, 6'1", 148 pounds, out of Ottawa, Ontario. 15-year-old Jordan. How are we looking for stats?
Well, he had 10 points in 32 games in U16. He also played a couple games in Junior B this year, collecting his first junior points of his career. So good for him. And Casey, would you ever be concerned at all that, well, as a coach, heading into these playoffs, well, you have to scout for the draft, but you're also preparing for your playoff series? What kind of, or would you ever be scared about having, maybe
Next
limited
team
resources?
are the Carlton Place
You
Canadians.
certainly have to be a multitasker, right? I mean, you have to be able to keep your eyes on what's going on the ice, but certainly also take time to be ready for the draft. You also have scouts, though. You have a lot of scouts on the team. 73s, for example, have David Graham, veteran scout in the league, and so you lean on them heavily as well to collect their intel, collect their thoughts on who they saw.
The Carlton Place Canadians are proud to select from Upper Canada Cyclones Logan Stobernak.
As the Carlton Place Canadians make their pick. And so you try to organize yourself in such a way that you're able to spend the time on the different areas that you can. A lot of time management, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And Stobernak coming in from the Cyclones didn't get a full season in 19 games, but he had 15 points. So
Next team to select
pretty
are the Nepean
impressive,
Raiders.
and he was able to play in the playoffs, collecting 2 points as well. Forward, and again, playing for that great Cyclones team last year.
As the home Nepean Raiders are here.
The Nepean Raiders are proud to select from 67's U16 AAA, James Zhang.
James Zhang, drafted by the Nepean Raiders. Hopes to be on the ice here at the Nepean Sportsplex as quickly as possible. And if we take a look at James, how does he stack up?
As again, 16-year-old forward from PEI, so Prince Edward Island, Canada. And Jordan, what are we looking for as far as stats goes?
18 points in 30 games, including 10 goals. You know, some pretty modest and good production from him, and he'll hope to break into this Raiders lineup in due time. And from PEI as well, like you said, Tristan, don't see too many players from PEI coming out here. And this pick was from
we
Rockland.
change it up a little bit now. Each round, all the players will be announced at one time. It won't be done up on the stage anymore. And the players, when you're announced, please go to the team's table you were selected from. The other issue now too is players that have been selected already. The tent at the back, I believe, are doing player interviews. So if you could line up back there, maybe not too many of you at one time, but 10 or 15 at a time.
As now the draft will continue along, as you heard from Terry Nichols. Teams will draft from their tables.
So
come up.
We're moving on to round 5. And the selections are from Rockland, Brady Turnbull.
And all the picks are announced at one time, and now that gives us an opportunity to get to know the players who the teams have drafted.
Yeah, and we'll be interviewing players in due time, right here.
Temple, Aiden Tetzlaff, Brockville.
And right now we're just going to be set up the player interviews. Jordan Hashi will be the first one interviewing players from the Brockville Braves. So we'll see how that goes as he will be interviewing Carter Cuglietta and Cole McLennan. And as we're going to do it, it's going to be Casey, myself, and Jordan. We're going to be taking turns taking interviews. So, Casey, excited to talk to the players.
Yeah, for sure. You know,
check the screen if you didn't hear that.
Very excited night for these guys. And Jordan Hashi will be first up to conduct his interviews. Has the microphone in hand. He will be talking to a couple of players who have been selected by the Brockville Braves.
It will be Carter Cuglietta and Cole McLennan as we send it off to Jordan Hashi.
And Jordan looks like he is ready to go as the camera gets ready too. And we have it's a lot of different elements at work here, but we're very proud and very excited to be able to bring this draft to you. And we will go from here.
Well, I'm here with Carter Cuglietta and Cole McLennan. Just drafted by the Brockville Braves. Both you guys coming from the Upper Canada Cyclones. How does it feel together playing into junior in the future?
Yeah, it's really good. Like, we've been friends for a lot of our career now, and it just feels really good to keep going with them.
Yeah, I've played hockey with Carter, with Kings, all my year in Kings and Cyclones, so it feels great to stay with a good friend.
And Carter, what do you feel you can bring to the Brockville lineup once you've continued to develop your game and finally cracked the lineup?
I feel I'm a good 200-foot player who can play both ends of the ice, really good defensively, but also can bring a lot of offense to the game.
I'm a strong, reliable defenseman who brings physicality to his game.
And heading forward into the off season here, what does your guys' first off season look like trying to make the transition into junior hockey?
Obviously in the gym a lot, getting any ice can to get better, any skills, skating, anything like that, and then obviously hitting the gym.
Going to the gym, staying active, try to put on some weight, some muscle weight, and keep on the ice as much as possible.
And maybe my favorite question to ask lots of young players, what do you guys like to, or what NHL players do you guys like to watch to model your games after?
I'd say somebody like Alexander Barkov, who's really good on the draws and plays a good 200-foot game where he can obviously be a reliable defensive guy, but also, if needed, play power play and any type of offensive game.
I like Drew Doughty because he's a strong defenseman who brings physicality with his game as well and blocks shots and is strong on the penalty kill and can play the power play.
Great, thanks for your time, guys. Good luck this season, next season.
Thank you.
Thank you.
as that was
a couple of exciting Brockville Braves prospects stepping up and getting an opportunity to speak with our very own Jordan Hashi, and Tristan sounds like they're pretty excited to go.
Yeah, they are. They're definitely willing to, build a few muscles in here at the gym, as they were mentioning, especially when you're a young player coming into the league, you need that muscle mass to really bring it in. As Casey Kenny will be talking to a few Carleton Place Canadians players soon enough. He will be talking with Logan Wilson and Carter, and one of my favorite last names, Kunopowski. Apologies for that, but it's definitely going to be interesting. As right now, Casey Kenny is just our very own. Casey Kenny will be talking to Logan Wilson and Carter Kunopowski. Definitely looking forward to it. As right now, we're actually going to switch it up. It's not going to be Casey. It's going to be Jordan Hashi talking to some more players, as I believe he might be doing the rest of the Brockville players.
I think so, but we're just trying to keep you on your toes here, Tristan.
He's actually going to be doing Kentville players, which is interesting, as he's going to be doing... Actually, it's going to be Casey. A few mix-ups here, so we apologize for the misorganization. But it's going to be Casey Kenny's, Kentville's own Casey Kenny, talking to a few Kentville players for
Speaking
you.
with Will Mullins, who was just taken by the Kentville 73s. And Will, some of your thoughts about being drafted by Kentville?
Yeah, I'm very excited. It's a great organization. I'm excited to get started.
When you take a look at what you have to offer on the ice, what kind of a role do you play?
Yeah, I'm a guy who likes to have the puck on his stick and who can put the puck in the back of the net and make my teammates better.
Did you have any idea that Kentville might be the team that would take you?
No, I did not. It was a great surprise.
And have you had a chance to go to any 73s games? Have you been to the North Grenville Municipal Center?
Yes, I have been to a couple 73 games. Great atmosphere, and the rink's beautiful too.
73s were able to make it back into the playoffs this year after being out for a couple seasons. They played a tough 4-game series against the Carleton Place Canadians, hoping to make it back in, obviously. And what do you hope for? What do you think you could do to help make that happen?
Yeah, just play my game and see what I can do and make some plays and see what happens from there and bring a high complete level and hopefully make playoffs next year.
73s have their orientation and their prospects camp in a couple weeks. Do you think you'll be there?
Yeah, 100%. I'm excited for it.
Perfect. Well, thank you very much for the time, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
And we're back here, Tristan. Lots of these guys getting real excited to get being drafted, and lots of these
Walker,
teams.
who's been selected by the Ottawa Junior Senators, and Will, just some of your thoughts about being taken.
Yeah, I'm excited. Good moment in my career, so just happy and yeah.
When you talk about what your role is on the ice or what you like to do out there, tell fans what that is.
I'm a player that likes to get in front of the net, go to the dirty areas, score some goals. Yeah.
Did you have any idea that you would be taken by OJS?
Yeah, I practiced with them a little bit, just in their practices, so I had a little bit of an idea, but yeah.
And when it comes to the NHL, who are some of the players that you like to watch and sort of model yourself after?
I grew up watching Brendan Gallagher, Montreal Canadian, so he likes to get in the dirty areas, so I try to model my game after him.
So would you say you're a pest like Brendan Gallagher, or same sort of style, or what?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Great. Well, congratulations, and thanks very much for the time.
Thank you.
And Tristan, like I was just saying earlier, lots of these guys super excited to get drafted here. They'll be looking to crack these lineups next season. Lots of these players, it might take them a couple years though. It's quite rare to see first-year impacts immediately come in. As it's just such a big level gap jump between U16 and in Junior A.
As Casey Kenny is going to be ready for us. Casey.
Speaking with Reed Harper, the compensatory pick for the Rockland Nationals, and some of your thoughts about being taken by Rockland.
Yeah, it's awesome. I've heard nothing but great things about them, and yeah, it's going to be awesome.
Have you had a chance to make it out to Rockland to see a game out there?
No, I actually haven't yet. They're quite far from me, 45 minutes, but yeah, can't wait to see him.
A team that's still in the playoffs. They play Game 7 tomorrow night in a hot contest. They had such a great season as well. What does that do to your excitement level to be able to join a team that's already flying on all cylinders?
Yeah, it's awesome. It's great to see it to be drafted to a team that is already doing really great for themselves, and it's definitely something that I want to work towards winning a championship for sure.
What about the nerves coming in here this evening? Obviously I've never been drafted, so I'm not quite sure how that all feels. But what is it like?
There's lots of excitement and lots of relief now that it's happened, but it feels great now.
Congratulations and good luck.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much, Casey, for the interview, as we will have Jordan Hashey, who will be giving an interview with his player soon, as Jordan is going to be ready to interview an Nepean Raider. Jordan, heading over right to you.
And I'm here with Liam Ferguson, draft pick, just in the Nepean Raiders. How are you feeling right now?
Great. I mean, I love the staff. I love the community, and the rink is great.
Yeah, I think the rink's real nice. It might get a little cold, though, just so you know. So you might want to wear maybe an extra little layer first couple of times coming out. But, talking about the excitement, heading into your junior A career, heading into the off season, what does that look like for you trying to prepare to try to make this team?
I mean, I think it's just about like make sure the body's in perfect shape, building off what we already have and getting ready for the new season.
Yeah, for sure. And we've asked this to pretty much everyone we've talked to so far. Who do you like to watch in the NHL that maybe you like to model your play style after?
He's a forward, but I gotta say, Brady and Matthew Tkachuk, I mean, I love their grittiness. For someone who's not huge like me, I mean, that's just something to aspire to. It's something to look forward to, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. And, how do you feel, or what do you think you can bring to this Nepean squad once you make the team?
I think I'm a small, fast defenseman, and I think, that's one of my skills. I think we can build off that. Something the team could use for sure, and I'm happy to go forward with them.
Great. Thanks for your time, Liam.
Thank you.
And thank you so much, Jordan. As again, he said Brady and Matthew Tkachuk. I'm slightly offended as a Blackhawks fan. I'm not going to lie to you. As Jordan is back with us, speaking to a few Cornwall Colts.
I'm an Ottawa Senators fan, so I'm okay with that.
I'm not. As Jordan right now is speaking with a few Cornwall Colts. Jordan, what you got for us?
Cool. I'm here with Colts 2 draft picks, and you guys come in from the same U16 team, right? Or if I'm not mistaken. Sorry about that.
Eastern Ontario Wild.
67. Yeah, and coming in, going to have to go to Cornwall, heading into the future. How are you guys feeling right now? I know you must be feeling pretty good. It's a big draft for you guys.
I mean, yeah, they made a decent run in the playoffs, so I mean, it's something to look forward to, and they're a great organization. So.
Yeah, same thing. Great run. Really excited, and hopefully we can keep doing this next year.
What do you guys think you can bring to help out the Colts team in the future?
I think I bring a level of physicality and just energy on the ice, and then just playing hard in the corners.
Try to keep a positive attitude, speed, agility, and just, yeah.
And heading into next season, obviously a big off season ahead of you guys. What do you guys like to do in the off season to prepare and to continue to develop?
Just a lot of training, either with weights or just on the ice, just trying to get better at certain things and just get stronger.
Yeah, same thing. Just stay level-headed and just keep working.
And what's your guys' favorite part about hockey?
Probably just the rush of energy it brings every game, just showing up to the rink and just always having fun with your boys. So yeah.
I have to say the adrenaline and being with the boys every day, it makes everybody happy and it's fun.
Hey, great. Thanks for your time, guys, and good luck next season and in the future.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jordan Hashey. Again, positive attitude and hang out with the boys. If that doesn't make a great hockey player, I don't know what does. As right now, we're just lining up a few interviews for you, as Casey Kenny is here with a few Navan grads, Caleb Fogarty and Connor Hafner. Casey, take it away.
Thanks a lot. Here with 2 Navan grads picks. And first of all, introduce yourselves to the fans that are watching.
Yeah, I'm Caleb Fogarty. I'm a D from the EO Wild. And I like to say I'm a two-way defenseman who can move the puck pretty well.
I'm Connor Hafner. I'm from the Upper Canada Cyclones, and I'm a goalie. I'm a pretty big goalie, and I know my crease.
So your feelings on being drafted by the Navan Grads? Obviously, they're a team that has a lot of success. They're a team that's tough to play against. What are you thinking?
Yeah, no, it's huge. It's the closest team to me. It'll be easy to drive there, and it's huge. It's I know a couple guys there, and I know it's an amazing franchise, and I've heard they do amazing things for their players, and they develop amazingly. So yeah, I'm super excited.
And as a goaltender, what are some of your thoughts about having those guys in front of you and dressed in Navan Grads jerseys?
Pretty cool. I live pretty close, and it's a really good team in front. I'm glad to follow after the steps of Jade Nelson.
And no, he obviously had a great season with the 67s. Has had a lot of success there. And finally, if you had to compare yourself to an NHL player, the style you like the most, who would that be?
I'd say Jake Sanderson on the Ottawa Senators. He can completely fly up the ice. He's super good with the puck. He can put the puck in the net. So I really try to model my game after him and try to follow in his footsteps.
Are you going to represent your country at the World Cup or some sort of tournament like that in the future?
I'd love to, man. Maybe in the future.
For sure. And yourself, sir?
Definitely Frederick Anderson. Big goalie, knows his crease, really calm in the net. So.
Perfect. Well, thanks very much, guys, and good luck.
Thank you so much.
As great a job by Casey Kennedy. Please somebody say a Chicago Blackhawks player. I support them. I just want them to be happy. We're doing terrible in the league, but some great Canadian teams represented. As Jordan Hashey was with us, Cole Stance and Carter Beauchesne. Jordan.
Hey, so how are you guys' names, where you're coming from?
I'm Luke Miller, and I'm from Perth, Ontario.
I'm Cole Stance, and I'm from Ottawa, Ontario.
Where'd you guys play hockey last season?
I played for the Upper Canada Cyclones.
And the Ottawa Mars Automotive.
And how are you guys feeling today? Big day, obviously, for you guys getting drafted. What's the feeling like, leading up to this and right now?
I mean, I'm stoked, man. It's a great organization to go to, and it's super close to my house, so I'm really excited to get started with this team.
Yeah, it's surreal. I've only heard good things about this organization, and a lot of good players have came through, so I'm stoked to get going.
And have you guys ever been able to catch any CCHL games live?
Yeah, I mean, growing up, I'd always come to Smith Falls games because, as I said, it's pretty close to my house, so I can't wait to get play on the team that I've always watched, and it's a pretty great feeling.
Yeah, growing up, I was always at Nepean Sportsplex watching Nepean and stuff, so I got to grow up seeing the competition and stuff.
Yeah, that's cool. And heading into the off season, obviously probably the biggest off season of your guys' young career so far. What are you guys hoping to do to continue to improve your games?
Same thing as every year. I'll always be working hard, but I think just a little bit extra this year. Staying in weight room, maybe a bit of golf throw in there, but lots of hockey and working out.
Got to get the golf in.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, same as him basically. A lot of the weight room, staying on the ice, and just focusing on those key things that will get you to the next level.
And what's your guys' what would you say is your guys' play style on the ice?
I like to think I'm a high IQ player that likes to make good passes and help make my teammates better, and yeah, I think it's most of my best.
I think I'm a two-way defenseman. I like to join the rush and create a bit of offense, but I also think I can be a shutdown defenseman who's calm and collected with the puck.
Hey, thanks for your time, guys, and congratulations. Have a good offseason, good rest of your careers.
Thank you.
As a great interview there by Jordan Hashey. Again, golf with the boys, nothing better. Last time I played golf was a few years ago, and I was absolutely terrible at it. As Jordan Hashey is back with us with the Pembroke Lumber Kings prospects, William Ryan and Brian Rothwell. Jordan, take it away.
Hey, so how about you guys' names, and where'd you guys play hockey last season?
Yeah, so my name's Brian Rothwell, and last year I played with the U16 AAA Ottawa Valley Titans.
My name's Will Ryan. I played for the Ottawa Valley Aces.
Well, and obviously, huge day today for you guys. How are you guys feeling right now?
I think I'm just ecstatic to be, representing my home local town.
I feel the exact same way. Playing for Pembroke's always basically the dream. Hometown hero.
Yeah, it's nice, and I've been to the Pembroke rink a few times. It's really nice. One of the nicest Junior A rinks, I would say. And you guys said you're from around there. Obviously, have you caught many games?
Yeah, I think we've made an effort to get out to some of the playoff games. Just the fans and the atmosphere is always great.
Same thing I said, man. Great fans, great people, great place.
And what positions do you guys play?
Yeah, so I'm a goalie.
I'm a center.
Well, and are there any goalies in the NHL that you like to watch?
I think for me, the biggest thing for me is I like to model my game after Ben Bishop. I'm a big guy. He's a big guy. I think he uses his frame and his big size so well in his game, and I like to take some things from his game and put them into mine.
And in terms of centers, who do you like watching?
I like Brendan Gallagher, even though he's a winger. I like his grit and his determination to get the puck. And I like his forecheck and his back check. He's just all around a 200-foot player.
I think that's a great answer.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, and after this season, you're hoping to take a next step in your careers. What does the off season look like for you guys?
I think for me, my off season is going to consist of being on the ice a lot, off ice training, maybe fit in a little bit of golf. But, I think just for the most part, staying consistent with my off ice and on ice training.
Same thing as him, basically. Go to the gym every week, every day. Be active. Me and him both play baseball on a rep team and get on the golf course.
Oh, nice. You guys know each other. Known each other for a while?
Yeah, we grew up knowing each other. We played together lots. I could say Will's one of my best friends.
Same school, go to the same school, same classes. Just a good guy, you know what I mean?
It's awesome. Must be a good feeling, you guys, and you'll have some familiarity already.
For sure. I think, we were lucky enough to both get selected by our home team. We're both buddies, and I think, Pembroke can expect a little bit of chemistry from us already.
Yeah, that's basically it, man.
Great. Well, thanks so much for your time, guys, and congratulations again. Have a good rest of your hockey careers.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
And Jordan, possibly a little bromance coming up in Pembroke. You never know. As we have Jordan back again with a few Rockland Nationals prospects. Jordan, take it away.
And we start with your position. Where'd you guys play last year and your names?
Yeah, so I played for the Ottawa Valley Titans. I'm a right D, and I'm number 91.
I'm number 19. I'm Jaden Switzer, forward for the U16 Ottawa Valley Titans.
And you guys played together last year. How does it feel coming into now together? You'll be able to grow together even more.
Yeah, it feels great. Great knowing I'll have a billet brother to be with next year and a chemistry to keep going.
Yeah, obviously it's great. I've been playing with him basically all my life, so it's obviously just an honor to play with him even further, and it's just great to have that chemistry that we've always had.
And what professional hockey players do you guys like to watch to kind of gain some tips, pointers, or maybe just even try to model your play style after?
Yeah, so I like to model my play style after Colton Perriaco. He plays for St. Louis. He's a big defensive D-man who knows how to play a smart, simple offensive game. So I like to watch him in my off time.
I like to model my style more off of Sidney Crosby because he's just an all-around great player. He's a 200-foot player, which I kind of like to model myself after, and he's also more of a leader on and off the ice.
I definitely can't argue with that.
Yeah. 100%. He's one of the greats in the NHL, and so he's one of the best players to model your game after.
Yeah, and a super exciting day for you guys, even week, I'm sure, leading up to it. Can you guys describe the feeling of heading up to this week and now finally you get drafted?
Yeah, it's been amazing. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. Not every kid gets to go through it, so I'm very fortunate, very grateful that I actually got to go through this, and yeah, just been super happy all week.
Yeah, just like he said, it's an honor, obviously, very excited, and probably a bit anxious getting up to here, but once it happens, once you hear your name called, it's kind of like a relief, and it's just an honor.
Yeah, for sure. Well, congratulations, guys, and good luck with the rest of your careers.
Yeah, all right. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jordan. Maybe Jaden Switzer can maybe do a few German dishes to the Rockland Nationals. Schnitzel, pretzels, possibly. Some good luck for the Rockland Nationals. You never know what happens, but some great talking there from Jordan to the Rockland Nationals prospects, as we're just waiting now on for a few more interviews from Jordan Hashey and Casey Kenny. As right now, we have a few Renfrew Wolves prospects with Jordan Hashey. Jordan, take it away.
Cool. So here with the first two picks in the draft for Renfrew, how about you guys start with just your position you play, your name, and maybe who you guys like to model your play style after?
Yeah, my name is Benjamin Carr. I'm a centerman, and I model my game after Barkov.
My name's Andrew Enright. I'm a defenseman, and I model my game after Morgan Riley.
And last season, you guys both played in U16 AAA. You guys played against each other?
Yeah, I played for Ottawa Myers, so we had a bit of a rivalry. But excited to play with him now.
Yeah, same thing. I played for the Ottawa Valley Titans, and so rivalry, but it'll be fun to play with each other now.
Yeah, for sure. And heading into next season, obviously this is going to be the biggest off season you guys have had probably so far, moving up a new level. What does an off season look like for you guys as you're trying to improve and kind of take the next step in your games?
Yeah, just being very focused on like going to the gym and getting stronger and faster. Playing against older guys, like 20-year-olds, is going to be a big jump. So just getting faster is the big thing.
Yeah, same thing. Being in the gym a lot, skating, edge work, things like that. Maybe mixing a few golf rounds here or there, but we'll see.
You got to get the golf in there, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm getting that a lot. And, you guys must be pretty excited right now. Obviously, the week leading up to this, you're thinking there's a good chance you'll get drafted. And then, bang, your first round, second round, like priority picks. How are you guys feeling right now?
Yeah, I'm pretty excited. I mean, I've been looking forward to this for a while, so I'm just excited to hear my name called. And, it was just a great experience.
Yeah, I'm very excited to go to Renfrew here. And it's a good group of guys who are on the team, so should turn out well.
Yeah, well, congratulations again, guys, and thanks for your time. Have a good rest of your careers.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Jordan. As Andrew Henry was stuck in traffic, luckily he's got a high spirit for him. So, again, if there was a height competition of who drafted the highest players, the tallest players, apologies, Renfrew definitely has a good shot at it, Jordan. And, again, as we're waiting for some more interviews with Jordan and Hashi and possibly Casey Kenny, as we're just chilling right now, looking for some more players to possibly interview, I'm just going to keep rambling because why not? As again, we've heard 2 Brendan Gallaghers for players that have been compared to. Gritty players here in the 2025 CCHL Draft. You never know what can happen on the ice. As right now, I'm actually joined by our own Dan Mellon here.
Hello, Tristan. Coming to you from the audio booth here. As we just await, I just want to take an opportunity here to give a shout out to all the parents.
Oh, 100%.
Being a parent myself of 3 kids that has played hockey, I've put a lot of miles on the minivan, and we've been all over the place. And I remember my oldest son was in this draft a few years back, and I see all the the parents and the brothers and sisters that are here, and the looks on their face. And a lot of these players couldn't have got to this point, Tristan. Had they not had the support of their families. And I mean, you've played sports as well. And
absolutely.
All the hours that get put in at the rink, all the coffee that gets drank. And so I think it's important we just take a minute to give a shout out to all the parents and the families and the grandparents and all the people who have been behind these players to help get them here where they are now.
And speaking of your oldest son, Dan, Graham, if you're listening to this, study for your test. Please study for your test. As somebody who has almost failed college multiple times in the past, Graham, please study for your test. I'm watching you through the radio.
Yes, he wanted to be here, but it's just too big a test, so school has to come first.
That he didn't study for. Oh, poor Graham.
Well, we're awaiting the return of Casey Kenny. I know he was heading out to the tables here. We should have stuck a microphone on him, but it wasn't going to happen. But maybe as we wait to get back, I mean, we're going to be going off the air here really soon, but maybe just some of your thoughts on how the night went.
Yeah, Dan. Well, I think lots of these guys are very excited, and that's one thing you really feel in this building is excitement. And personally, I love it. You get to really see some hope, some optimism from lots of these young players, and some of these guys are going to go on to have professional hockey careers, and we get to see where it starts for them, and it's a cool experience for sure.
And Tristan?
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. And, I think somebody who's not really accustomed to this hockey atmosphere, I'm more, I grew up playing basketball a lot. Being in a hockey attendance draft has been absolutely incredible for me. Seeing a lot of these guys potentially, achieving their dream to play for their hometown, I think it's very inspiring, and it's very... They're going to have to go through a lot. I think, hard work pays off, especially in these guys. Getting drafted the first step, but putting in that hard work and actually making it, they're going to have their prospect camps sooner than later. That's going to be big for them. So hopefully most, if not all these guys will be able to make it out of there safe and sound.
And one of the things that you mentioned, Tristan, just a minute ago, I think this is so important. We talk about some of these players who do get drafted to their hometown team. And, if they finally make the club, and you've been around the rinks, right? You've been around the whole league this season. You've been up and down and everywhere else. And the response that, if you have a couple of local players on that roster, right? You get the family, you get the friends, you get get the high school friends that come out to the rinks to see the games. And there's just something special about a player if you've grown up in that town and then you get to play for that hometown team.
100%. And like you mentioned, Dan, I think the more local the guys get, the more fans you're going to get at these games, because they're saying, okay, you know, this guy's from my hometown, maybe I'll go watch him because it's exciting. You know, these are guys that are realizing that dreams can come true, especially in their hometown. Maybe when they were playing AA or maybe lower level hockey, you didn't think this would come true, but now it has. It's kind of like an eye-opener for them to realize that, okay, maybe I can do this, and maybe I can play in front of my parents, my friends, family, etc.
Well, and Jordan, I mean, you talked to a player, I believe it was one of the Smiths Falls players, just a few minutes ago, and you said, you know, he talked about how he was just a little kid, you know, 7, 8 years old, and he went out to the rinks to see his local team, and now here he is drafted by the team.
Yeah, that's another part of this that we're seeing. That's so cool. And talked to 2 Pembroke players as well who have been best friends since they were young, both going to Pembroke games, and now they get to play for them. That's great to see, and I'm sure you know that kind of can translate to the ice as well. Just the passion, the love for the game, and it's crazy that a sport can just bring people together like this.
One of the interesting things about this league in particular, if you look at some of the junior leagues, not only across Ontario, but even across Canada, I mean, some of the leagues, they're on the bus 7, 8 hours, sometimes 10 hours, whereas the CCHL is really interesting in that, you know, the farthest, even if you were like to go to Hawkesbury to Pembroke, like a couple of hours max, you know, a lot of teams right here in the city that are just a drive across town. And the one thing, and I don't know if you picked up on this or not, but the one thing that I noticed throughout when you were doing your interviews earlier were that, you know, sometimes, you know, the 2 players that got picked maybe in the first 2 rounds who you had on, they've spent the last 5 years or more playing against each other. Right? There may have been some beef there. There may have been a real good rivalry, and now here they show up on the same team the first time.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2 different, you know, there's 2 different outcomes that we're seeing, right? Some of these guys have played together, are good friends, but then they're going to have to find ways to befriend their enemies. And that's...
and Jordan, I can give you a prime example of this, because I think Dan was absolutely correct in this. You know, you look at the Smith Fall guys, they look like, or the Pembroke guys, they look like they were buddy-buddy, holding each other's arms, you know, having a good time. And then as soon as you interviewed the Renfrew guys, those guys look absolutely... They did not like each other. You could tell from the beginning. They looked at each other. One was already late from traffic. They did not look like they liked each other very much, because they're rivals. And those are going to be some of the guys that... Those usually end up being the guys that you're most afraid of playing, because they're so against each other. And once they become friends, it's game over.
Now, I'm going to ask you about a couple of players here in my next question for you guys, but as we await the return of Casey Kenny, unless he got kidnapped, and then he's not coming back. But, but you know, the thing is, tonight's a great night, because the families come out, the players come out, they're here all done up in their suits, they got their best suit on and the jersey, and it's really a great night. But, you know, after tonight and after everyone goes home, this is, you know, the hard work has to start. And the first thing are going to be the prospect camps as they start to get their first taste in the organization. And, you know, it's still a long way away from September.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. And I think, Dan, speaking about your point, I think, you know, this is really much the calm before the storm. There's a lot of celebration, it's a lot of happy, but the next day it's almost like a wake-up slap. It's a wake-up call for all these guys that they realize, oh crap, like I gotta actually work hard, and I have a few guys ahead of me in my position that I need to take care, I need to take over. So
yeah, Tristan, and the best players, they're hitting the gym, they're hitting the weight room, they're hitting the sprints, they're hitting the rink 6-7 times a week, and that's what it takes to be an incredible hockey player. Well, that's really what it takes to be incredible at anything. And like Dan said, this is where it starts. Today, right now, you find out where you're going, and you're competing with all these other guys that were picked just today, not to mention every other year, not to mention imported players, not to mention players from other leagues. So it really is a put up or shut up time that's starting for a lot of these young players.
one of the other things that's always really interesting about this, and I've been following the league a long time now and coming to these drafts for a long time now, and you've got your top picks obviously, and then as we start to go down the rounds, and we didn't get to hear all the rounds announced because there's so many names here, but as you get down into the deeper rounds, and I just want to say over the years, watching some of these kids come up through, and man, I've seen it so many times where maybe you get a really late round player, right, that kind of squeaks in right at the end. But, they've got even more to prove, and then they show up to camp, and they're one of the ones that, sometimes, get in, they break that roster, and maybe weren't on the radar, early on, or maybe even as far down as tonight, but, they're one of the big surprises come the fall.
Yeah, absolutely, Dan. And, kind of comparing that to another sport, you're talking about somebody like, even though I can't stand him, Tom Brady or a Brock Purdy, somebody like that who, Tom Brady was the last pick in his draft class in the NFL draft. And same thing with Brock Purdy. And they both have become amazing quarterbacks. So very similar to that, where somebody might get picked in the 8th round, the 7th, 6th, 8th round, and you might not look at them as maybe somebody who's a contender for that spot, but there are times, and I think most of the time too, as we see in the CCHL, where those 6th, 7th, 8th rounders have become very good players for their organizations. And right now, as we're looking at on and on, we're especially Renfrew, the top 5 picks too. They have 5 first-round picks. Unfortunately, not all of them are going to be great, and that's just the reality of hockey. Is you have to work hard. The more you work at it, the better you are going to get at it. And especially with those Renfrew, those 5 first-round picks, you gotta, those guys, they're under a microscope. Especially all the first-round picks. Actually, they're under a microscope, getting caught constantly by scouts. And they really have a lot of pressures. They really have a lot of pressure on their shoulders right now.
All right. Well, I've just been told that Casey Kenny is with the players right now, so he will not be returning as we get ready to sign off the air here. But over to you guys for final thoughts.
Yeah, well, it's an exciting time here, and I look forward to seeing some of these guys next season. And hey, if you have the chance, there's some Game 7s going on tomorrow. You can catch a lot of those on CCHL radio. And after that, long off season, and we'll be back.
It's time to hit the pool.
Yeah, exactly. And, I speak for, I think, Jordan and I, when some of the Nepean Raiders players that we do cover on CKDJ 1079, come on by to the radio station. We'd love to have you on for an interview. We'd love to have you on, get to know more about you, because, again, we do cover the Nepean Raiders on CKDJ 1079. And I think especially the fans, they want to know more about you guys. They want to know, what do you like to eat in the morning? Something ridiculous like that. We'd love to have you guys on.
All right. Well, thanks very much, guys. A great job tonight. It was a great show. And thank you to everyone for listening in, whether you're on the live stream or listening in on CKDJ 1079. Thanks to Dom back in Master Control.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks, Dom.
For Casey Kenny, for Tristan and Jordan, I'm Dan Mellon. Thank you for listening. Have a great night.
This has been the 2025 CCHL Draft on CKDJ 1079 and the CCHL This Week. Congratulations to all the players who were drafted tonight, and best of luck in the season ahead. For CKDJ 1079 and the CCHL This Week, I'm Dan Mellon. Thanks for watching, and thanks for listening.